The digital transformation on the continent continues to unfold at an incredible pace and is poised to accelerate even faster thanks to inclusive and instant payment systems, which have the potential to reshape the continent's economic landscape. For more on this and some of the highlights, challenges, as well as the opportunities, we are joined by Sabine Mensah, the Deputy CEO at AfricaNenda. Sabine, thank you so much for your time. When you look at where we are when it comes to instant payments, where are we right now?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. We will have to say in Africa, the instant payment ecosystem is really dynamic. Today, we have about 28 domestic country-level instant payment systems and 3 regional instant payment systems. So that brings the number to 31 instant payment systems in Africa that are live. And what's even the better story is the amount of transaction that's really processed by these systems. So in 2023, we estimated at 49 billion transactions processed that year, and which was about 47% more than the year before in 2022. So very dynamic. A lot of transactions are processed through the instant payment systems. And there is the fact that also that we are seeing a lot more traction in terms of interoperability of these instant payment systems, so the country level, so enabling consumers to transact, enabling transactions between mobile money and a bank account and vice versa. So that's really great. And I think the last part of the story, which is really giving me a lot of optimism, is that inclusivity of these instant payment systems has grown in the last year. So we now have about 9 systems that are inclusive, covering 13 countries, and really seeing a lot more traction for countries that are also planning to develop the instant payment system in the near 12 months to the near 4 years.
Given what you've just said, and people do understand instant payment systems, but when we look at that, what makes it inclusive?
Great question. I mean, I started working in the payment systems in 1997. And at that time, the only opportunity you have to move money was bank wires. And between neighboring countries, it could take a week, 2 or 3 weeks, depending where the countries are. And later on, I started working for Western Union, and then we're talking about remittances. So the time became about, let's say, 10, 15, 1 hour. Today, instant is defined by really having your transactions in near real time. When you, as a consumer, processing it, the recipients will see that transaction in seconds. Seconds or minutes. So that is part of instant payment system. But when we're talking about inclusive instant payment system, we're bringing 3 different layers. One being inclusive functionalities. So making sure that these systems enable low value transactions. There's no minimum. If I want to send 100 rand or 100 shilling, I can. If I want to send more, I can. So they're low volume and low value, low volume, low value, and low cost as well. And interoperability is key. So that enables me as a consumer, regardless of which provider I'm working with, to interact with the entire financial ecosystem in a country. The second layer we bring in inclusive is really the governance piece. So it means that all licensed financial service providers or payment service providers have access to that instant payment system, and they also have an equal input opportunity on the decisions that the schemes are making. And of course, the financial regulator, typically a central bank, is really shaping the governance of this system. And the third layer is really inclusivity from a consumer perspective. System is available, accessible to all. It also enables all use cases possible. So it is better for you to use a digital system than cash, because you can do transactions with individual person-to-person transfers, but you can also do transactions with government, so paying government or receiving government payments. And you can also do transactions with businesses. And businesses can do transactions together. So that ability of enabling all use cases on the digital is an inclusivity component. And there's a component about making sure that consumer protection is key also in that ecosystem. So there's a recourse mechanism when your transaction is not going through, so you know where to, complain, and there is a system in place to make sure that your complaint is really, really investigated and there's a response back to you. And I think the last thing is the affordability of the component, making sure that, yes, they are low cost, low value, affordable to all, and the system is really catering to enabling accessibility to all of us, regardless of where we stand on a geographic or economic scale.
As we look ahead, is there an opportunity that you're paying attention to that will promote that inclusivity going forward?
So, say that again, please. I didn't hear you.
Is there an opportunity or perhaps a trend that you're paying attention to that you believe will help in promoting that inclusivity, especially when we look at instant payment systems?
I think there are definitely a lot of trends ongoing and great optimism in the ecosystem. Last year in 2022, when we did the report, we had 5 systems or progressed inclusivity, and today we have 9 of them that are progressed inclusivity. What have they done? First of all, is making sure that the system was interoperable as a way, and that interoperability is really a journey, is driven by not only the systems operators, but the regulators at a country level, and making sure that all licensed payment system providers have access and can be part of the interoperability journey. Another component of how we've seen this inclusivity is that the building systems are building more and more use cases. They are making sure that when you have a digital account, you are able to do more transactions, and you're able to also interconnect with everybody in the ecosystem, enabling both government, businesses, and individuals to do more transaction with the digital. There's a lot more investment also in making sure that the systems are safe and secure, and that these recourse components are available for consumers and protect them against fraud, and making sure that the trust in the digital ecosystem is really a strong one that incentivizes consumers to do transaction and more transaction. And of course, consumers are seeing that in terms of benefits and time saved, and of course cost saved as well, and also the ability to really leverage their time and their resources as needed, and have the opportunity to drive these transactions. So I think moving forward, as we're seeing more and more instant payment systems coming in Africa, it is critical that the development of these instant payment systems are really enabling an ecosystem play, and that there is a consultation between public and private ecosystem, consultations in deciding of the best business case for this instant payment system that would incentivize all the financial service providers to come in, and of course the fintechs and startup to also be able to provide services to the most excluded consumers that we have on the continent. At AfricaNenda, we are very optimistic about the future of instant payment system. And of course, we remain available to all government and instant payment system providers in Africa to support with technical assistance and capacity building as needed.